Hello. Today we are having with us Dr. Piero Ferrucci, psychotherapist and a philosopher, also a board member of Psychosynthesis Institute in Italy. Welcome.
Thank you.
Today we are going to talk about the beauty. So the first common question would be, how do you personally see and describe beauty?
Oh, you start with the most difficult question.
I always do.
Well, then it will be easier afterwards. Well, beauty almost by definition cannot be put into words, but I've tried to do that, and not so much through my own words, but through the words of the people that I interviewed. I interviewed a lot of people, asking them what was the experience of beauty for them. And I describe also a few of my own experiences. I've had, like many of us, many different experiences of beauty, and I've always been puzzled by them. The experience of beauty for me was looking at the starry sky, or looking at spring flowers, or looking at my sons, especially when they were little, or reading poems. And I've had in many, many different instances. And I've always felt deeply nourished and sometimes transformed by it. I think that the beauty has an unbelievably strong transforming power, and that's why I was interested in it. As a psychologist, I did not try to define what beauty is. What interested me was the effect it can have in our life, because I think it can be a very practical and down-to-earth effect.
Mm-hmm. And what kind of changes, what type of changes did you notice during your work, working with your patients, when you somehow involved beauty into practice? What happened?
Well, the first and most obvious is the effect of healing. We all have, and in particular people that come for psychotherapy, wounds. You know, we hurt, we are sad, we are angry, all kinds of things have happened to us, and we need to recover. Beauty is one factor that deeply helps this recovery. We listen to a piece of music that we really love, and at least as long as we listen to it, we are completely taken by that music, and we forget everything else. And then we come back, of course, but we are regenerated and we are stronger, so we can meet the problem again, but in a different spirit. So healing is the very first thing that I noticed.
How did people react on beauty? Did anyone resist? Did anyone try to escape? Because beauty can be quite powerful, because
yes,
it's transforming. So how do people react on beauty?
I think you've got the essence of the problem there, because the relationship that we all have with the beauty is like the relationship with all the most important things in our life, like death, or sex, or love, or money. And it's a complex relationship. Sometimes it's ambivalent, sometimes it's contradictory. Why would it be contradictory for beauty? Exactly for the reason that you said, that it is powerful, and deep down we know that it can throw the cards up in the air if we really go deeply into it. I'm not talking about the surface experiences, but it can change everything. But often we are more attached, we prefer to suffer, but to remain attached to something that we know, rather than to meet with the terrifying unknown. So there are resistances.
Would you say that society and our culture, modern, let's say Western cultures, do we have a distorted view on beauty? somehow, I would say, not just sick, but not healthy view on beauty?
Well, of course, we are in a society which is based on commerce and publicity much more than it happened in ancient times. So there is a lot of competition, and beauty is often used as a form of publicity. So it's beauty that has to prevail over other beauties, and so it is a beauty that has to scream, that is multiplied, that has taken hormones to really be noticed, because it has to compete with all the other forms of beauty and be noticed. So that would be a distortion that I would notice. The other, of course, is what I would call fetishism, that we become completely entranced with this beautiful object or this beautiful body, and we think that that contains beauty, and it does and it doesn't. You know, beauty may be there, but may be there and there and there. So the idea is to try and become able to see beauty everywhere, in everybody, and then we become much more relaxed. If I see beauty only in one person, that person then becomes the only way in which I can contact some form of happiness. And if I lose that person, if I don't own that person, I will be desperate. So I will cling to that person or to that thing or to that situation. But if I can see beauty a bit everywhere, then I'm much more relaxed. You know, there's nothing to lose.
Okay, we describe our average lives here in modern and postmodern society as fast-paced, stressful, fast, consumed by capitalism and consumption. How can people, ordinary people, individuals, find and perceive beauty in this such a fast-paced world?
Well, speed is an enemy of beauty, usually, because we need time to contemplate, to open up, to get used to it, and beauty is often subtle, so we cannot be impatient. So that is a difficulty. However, there are many advantages also in modern times, and that is that beauty is more readily available in a great variety of ways. We have all the, you know, I can just get out of here, and within a radius of like 1 kilometer I can find the greatest masterpieces of music and of poetry and of painting. I just go into a bookshop or a music shop. It's all in there. That was not so in ancient times. Situation has changed. So people have never been going as much as today to exhibitions, to see all kinds of works of art, to concert, and so on and so on. So there is a desire also for that. So it's different age. We're not doing terribly well, but we're not doing terribly bad either.
So during your work, what you noticed, what was the, I would say, the easiest or maybe even the fastest way, which type of beauty came into patient's heart? Was this art, culture, poetry? What type of beauty is, I would say, let's say, strongest in our society?
Well, of course, it changes very much from person to person, but the examples that were mentioned the most were the beauty of a beloved, especially of a baby, but also of a maid, and the beauty of nature, music. These are the fastest, most immediate. But I've had many people telling me different things, like the beauty of mathematics, or the beauty of a crumbling wall, or the beauty of the reflections of the buildings in a puddle. So I've had all kinds of responses, and that was very good to see that people are able to perceive beauty a little bit everywhere.
What changes did you notice with people who accepted the beauty or opened towards the beauty in their lives? What transformed?
They were more happy to be alive. Often we are here, but we don't really know if we want to be here on this planet. We feel like Martians. We feel like aliens. We wish we'd be somewhere else. We feel we don't belong. If we're more open to beauty, we feel that we belong in this universe, that we are really part of the cosmos. That is probably the strongest thing that I've noticed. And also a much greater availability to their feelings, a greater variety of feelings, and a greater openness to ideas. Also, there is a big influence on the intellectual level as well.
Do you think the beauty and the concept of beauty is important for human evolution as a civilization, as a society as a whole?
Well, I think that even for biological evolution it was important, because we became human when it was around 40 to 60,000 years ago, when people started to paint in the caves, for instance, or to meet together and find that they could produce some kind of rhythm or dance or music or even theatrical performance. Or a little bit later, when they were able to talk, they could tell stories and dramatize them. That is what made us human, and it has very much to do with beauty. For instance, also painting their own bodies or decorating the utensils. That is the first testimony of beauty. And now, at this time, that is the big problem with the contemporary times. We have lost a lot of that, because people don't work with their hands that much anymore, and they don't create beautiful things together. There's much less of that also in schools. Everything has become much more digital, which is okay. You know, computers are fine, but not if you stay 6 hours in front of them just playing video games. There has to be a balance. And for instance, children who stay too much in front of the computer screen then lose the capacity to read human face expression, facial expression. And therefore they become less able to empathize and to relate to other people. And also, I think, to experience beauty because of that.
What do you think, how to bridge this gap, to open to the music, to open to the nature, to stop, let's say, this virtual life, how to motivate people to make the first step? Because when you make the first step, you gain some instances of beauty into your life. But how to make the first step, then you can...
Well, the first thing to do, of course, is to choose the right kind of parents when you are born in this planet. So if you did that, you're already in a good... you've already had a good start. And the right kind of parents are the parents that expose one child to music, they let him create all kinds of art and paint and draw and play with the plasticine, and they show him nature and so on and so on. And that is for children. If that is being awoken when they're still very young, then that is the best that we can do. For grown-ups, the main thing to do is to remind them, and I think that the thirst for beauty is still there, because it's I really believe it's a biological need, and it's a little bit like thirst. Sometimes we forget about that we are thirsty. But if somebody reminds us, oh, remember that you may be thirsty, you want a glass of water, and then we drink. Because, oh yes, I forgot. I was too busy.
Okay. When we talk about physical beauty, like body posture, this beauty eventually fades away. We get old, but we can still notice that there's some beauty in the eyes of the person. So do you think that there is something more to the beauty? Maybe the beauty is endless or more powerful than we perceive it?
Oh, very much so. Of course, that beauty that you refer to is inner beauty, so it's less evident. The beauty of a young, beautiful body is very strong. It's an hormonal kind of beauty. It strikes us. It makes our heart beat and all kinds of other psychological and physical processes. Inner beauty is much slower to be seen and much deeper, though, and that's in the best of cases what happens when people get older, that they realize that are a deeper kind of beauties that they can perceive. Otherwise, if it's only physical beauty, then it's like a bad joke, a really bad joke.
So what do you think, where does this inner beauty come from, and how do we nourish it?
Well, I think it's already there, because if you look at people and if you get to know people, you can see their own inner qualities. Sometimes they're just evident, sometimes they are repressed or hidden, but they're there. The beauty of their kindness, or the beauty of their intelligence, or the beauty of their generosity. And if you see them, if you see that in them, you feel much better yourself, and you also activate it by seeing it, by acknowledging it. So there is hope.
There is always hope. So let's conclude this interview with this sentence: there is hope. Thank you for your time, and I hope that we meet again.
Thank you very much.
And to our audience, we would just say that open to the beauty and see for yourself what kind of impact and influence it will have on your lives. Goodbye.
Good words.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks a lot.